Hey, welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dylann Crush, and I am here with Dawn Ludicky over there.
Yeah.
And tonight we have our guest authors, Megan Ryder and Debra Elise. Thanks for joining us. We're super excited that you were able to make it on this. I know it's like a pre-holiday weekend, so I don't
Yeah.
know if people are out and about tonight. But yeah,
Yeah.
The diehards will be.
Yep,
Yeah.
we're
It's been
still
a
here.
crazy week.
It's been a
It's been
busy week.
nuts. Yeah. Crazy.
Hey, Casey. Casey said she was
Hey.
going to tune in to keep us company tonight. So
Yeah.
we got a couple people joining in. But yeah, Dawn, what have you been up to? Have you fully recovered from your Spartan race? I know you had just completed that last time we were live.
Yeah. Yes, I have. There is
Good.
still some dirt in my socks, even though they've been washed several times, but I haven't even tried my tennis shoes on. But
Do you
yeah,
have
so
more than one pair of socks, Dawn, or do I
I
need to send you some
do.
socks?
I
Okay.
do, but those are my favorite ones.
Okay.
They're thick, they're running socks. I've had them forever and they have no holes. And I don't know
Nice.
how. They're like my oldest socks with no holes. So they're like, yeah, they're quality. That's why I wore them because the
Mhm.
last time my socks got holes in the toes from
Ouch.
just the race alone. So, yeah. Yeah. So now so I gotta plug myself. I'm sorry, but Super Mom is tonight, right? Like by the time Romance Happy Hour gets over, Super Mom, no, it doesn't end, but the quarterfinals ends tonight at 8 o'clock. My
Okay.
time, 9 o'clock your time. So go vote for me for anybody that's on. Just pop those votes in. That's
The
what I've been doing.
last day
And
to make it count. You've been what do you
well, for
call that?
this round, yeah.
What do you call that when you're campaigning? God,
Yeah. I don't know.
campaigning for Supermom. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And there's only 2 weeks left if I win this round today. The next round ends next week and then the final round ends the following week. So I really want to win. I want that
What's the prize?
two-page. The prize is a 2-page spread in Women's World magazine about you
Nice.
and your business. So that's why I want to
Yeah,
win.
that
It's
would
also
be awesome.
$20,000 and a vacation to Palm Springs. So like all
And
of that
it's
I really want.
supermom.com?
Yeah, no, you know what? Here, I'll post the link.
There you
Okay.
go, John.
Yeah,
Pop it in the
I'm gonna
comments.
pop it in the comments because
Every time
And
I see you post, I vote. I forget to go every
yeah,
day, but every time I see you post it, I go vote.
yeah, and it all the hero votes benefits the Miracle Network. So
okay,
it's all
Here,
nice.
tax
we'll even
deductible.
show it on the
Yay!
screen.
Yeah.
Yay.
Go vote
So
for Dawn
go
for
vote for me
Supermom.
because by the time we're done with this show, I'll either be a winner or a loser. So
Aw. Well,
Well,
no,
either
but
way,
yeah,
you can have a
super
glass of
cheesy.
wine.
You'll
yeah,
always be
yeah.
a winner to us,
I
Dawn.
know. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
speaking of, did you know it's National Wine Day? I was telling you that before we went live.
oh,
It
and I
is
have
National Wine Day.
and I didn't know that before I got my drink because you told me, and I have White Claw, so I feel like I'm like betraying
Oh,
National Wine Day, but I will have a glass of wine later to
Okay,
make
to
up
even
for
it
it,
out.
to
All right.
even it out.
Okay.
Other than that, the only thing I've been doing is, I mean, I've been trying to plot out my next firefighter book. But it was both of my boys' birthday is this week, which is why I did the birthday cake drink for today. Because when you're doing those birthdays, that's what you need. We had 12 kids at a birthday party last weekend, and 10 of them slept over,
Oh boy.
and they were boys. And I was tired for 3 days afterwards. And my
I
poor
Well,
bet.
hopefully you
husband,
didn't give them the birthday drink.
no, I didn't. No, definitely me.
Or is that how you got them to fall
It was
asleep?
after. It was after. No, they did not fall asleep.
Right.
It was like 3 a.m. and I'm like, boys, I mean, but
How
luckily we
old are
had a
they?
tent, 8 and 9, and well,
Oh my
9 and 10
gosh.
now.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah. And we had the
Times
trampoline
10.
and yeah, uh-huh. Trampoline and a tent, and where I'm like, go outside. Go sleep out there. The old lady neighbors, they'll probably hear you and I'll just apologize later. But
Mhm.
you know.
Good
So
times.
that's what I've been doing. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going camping for Memorial Day weekend. What are you doing? I thought you would be at the cabin,
Um,
you know.
no, I am going to Texas on Sunday.
Mm,
So I'm going to visit my mom and my sister, and then I have a thing in Dallas that I'm doing next week, and then I'll be home next Saturday.
nice.
And then my
Okay.
kiddo comes home a week from Monday
Like for
because
the whole summer?
my kiddo's been in Africa for the past 3 weeks
Oh, okay.
for a class. So
Gotcha.
That's amazing.
Nice. How's
I know.
she liking it?
Loves it, loves it. But you
Good.
know what is so amazing is we're using WhatsApp and we just video called today. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so crazy to think, just technology has made the world just
Yeah.
so small.
I
That
haven't
even
thought
though
of WhatsApp. I've been Instagram face or message like videoing my son in Japan. So
Mhm.
that's a good option, I guess. I didn't think of that.
Well, because on WhatsApp they can just use Wi-Fi and well, I
Mm,
mean, I guess you can do that on Instagram too, but I don't know. It was just super easy.
yeah.
All you need is
Hmm,
a phone number. You don't have to have an account or anything. You just need a phone
hmm,
number. It's been great. So yeah.
nice.
Cool.
So I'm gonna be in Texas. I'm gonna be getting Mexican food next week. This time next week I will be probably 4 days into Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, get to see my mom and my sister and that side of the family for a little bit.
Nice.
And I've been writing, lots and lots of
Good.
writing. So yeah, I was up at the cabin last week though
Mm.
for a little bit by
Did you
myself.
see your beavers?
I did not. No, I did not. The nuisance beavers have been quiet, although my husband is going to go up tomorrow and he is going to go to the Lake Association meeting. So
Oh,
I will make sure that he gets the latest beaver news. So,
okay.
Deborah
Nice.
has not been here before. She does
Well,
not know.
She
I
doesn't
did
know
read
her. Yeah.
some notes from like last session or the session before, and you guys, one of you has a beaver in your story in one of your books, or more than one of your
Yeah.
books.
Well,
Okay.
several of our books. Yeah.
Okay.
It all started because we have this tiny cabin in northern Minnesota, and I'll make a very long story short, but there are nuisance beavers on our lake, and they talked about it at our lake association meeting. And of course, as the only romance author in the room, every time they were talking about the nuisance beavers, and we were all going to have to pitch in to hire a professional beaver trapper. And I mean, I was just like this with my husband, and I mean, it was just, I don't know. So I came back and we talked about it, and ever since then, it's been a running joke. And so we have put beavers in our books, and
Yeah.
it's been fun.
Well,
But yeah.
my father-in-law and my brother-in-law have started a business, and they're gopher killers.
Oh,
Yeah. So I kind of, that's what made me laugh when I thought of that. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't
You
know if I
have
can
to
work
ask them if
gophers
they've
into
ever
my
seen
book.
any wild beavers that have
Yeah.
been causing a nuisance out on any of their escapades.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Do they like come onto people's property and like eat their plants or shrubs, or what do they do?
No, they just dam up the lake, and
They do,
then
that's just their usual
and
beaver
then-
stuff. They don't do like extra beaver stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing
no.
typical. Okay.
Although we did have one living under our bunkhouse, because I've seen it multiple times scurrying across the grass, and so we have had beaver sightings up at the cabin as well.
Wow.
It's always very
Yeah.
exciting when there's a beaver sighting, but now, yes. But
Now
so
it's
now
not so exciting.
everything is beavers. We have a little wooden carved beaver up at the lake, and everything is beavers. I sent Dawn a Bucky's beaver Christmas onesie that we wore to our holiday.
Yes. And I actually packed it today for my camp trip this weekend. 'Cause it's
Awesome.
supposed to be chilly. So I'm like, I'm gonna walk around as a beaver. I don't even care.
I love my beaver onesie. Although, now that I'm kind of at a certain age, it's a little too warm for me. So in
Yeah.
the dead of winter, I can wear it outside. But other than that, it's a little warm.
Yeah.
But Deborah and Megan Welcome. Let's have you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about what you're working on. I see we've got Karen already
Yeah.
in the comments posting questions.
Yes.
He's
That's
ready.
awesome. So don't let that intimidate you. There's plenty of time to get to all those questions. But Deborah, I know you are a first timer here. So do you want to introduce
Yeah.
yourself and tell us a little bit about what you write and if you're comfortable sharing where you write from and all that good stuff?
Sure. I write steamy, later in life, short novel length romances. Usually insta love, but I've done some where you're friends to lovers, enemies to lovers, so they do know each other. But I've kind of fallen in love with the insta love format. And I just had a book come out this week in the Iron H Ranch series, and that's called Bidding on a Cowboy. So if you like cowboys, you can go check that one out on Amazon. It's in KU right now. I'm currently working on another short romance in the Club Curve series with a bunch of, I don't know, I guess there's like 27 of us. And so that's going to be another kind of insta love, but it's a forbidden romance, workplace romance in a hospital. So I got to get that one done in the next 2 days and get it loaded up. I always seem to like do my best work in a frenzy, like in the last 3 or 4 days, especially when I want to rewrite the first chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of been what I've been working on this week. And
I like
I've
to
got
call
some-
that being deadline oriented.
yeah, yeah.
Instead of like behind schedule and all that, I just call myself a very deadline oriented person.
Yeah.
And I tried to be a plotter this year, earlier in the year. I've always been a pantser, and I just failed miserably, and I made myself crazy. So I've gone back to, maybe just doing a little sketch of my characters. I know where I want it to go, what tropes I want, and then I just go.
Yeah.
So, and that makes me very happy. So, and it makes my husband happy because then I'm not, complaining to him that I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I can't even follow, A, B, C, D without something happening. So, yeah. So that's what I've been working on. And I do have some paranormal coming out later in the year. And I'm also going to be under Debra Elise for that. And those will be a little bit longer. But right now I'm kind of focusing on the novella length.
Fun.
So, yeah.
I
And
love
I'm in northern Idaho. I don't know. Yes,
Where-
I live Coeur d'Alene.
Okay, so we're kind of neighbors. I'm in Montana.
Hi, neighbor. What part?
Missoula. Well,
Missoula?
right,
Okay.
the Bitterroot, but
Okay, nice.
my aunt has oh gosh, St. Marie's, maybe, I can't
Right here.
remember now, but she's got some camp, like a camp spot on the river there,
Nice.
and so we go there every year and have like a little,
yeah.
Yay,
I love it.
Idaho. I love it. We'll have to get together sometime next time I'm over that way.
I actually grew up in Post Falls, which is just like a 10-minute drive. I graduated, and then I decided this area was just too small for me, so I left. And I went to California, lived with some relatives, and hated the big city. And then I probably lived here. Well, I'm 55, so I've probably lived here a good 40 plus years on and off. And I can't see myself living anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's just
I feel
beautiful
ya.
here. 4 seasons. I mean, yeah, we've gotten some growth, and we're going through growing pains because everybody came here during the pandemic.
Yeah, here too.
Yeah, but it's still a great place to live, raise our kids. My husband is a transplant from southern Idaho, so
Where at?
Pocatello.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
lived in just south of Pocatello, Preston, Idaho.
Yeah,
I lived there,
I think his
and then
grandparents lived there.
I
Yeah.
graduated from Idaho Falls. Graduated high school from there. So we've been
No
back and forth,
way.
Idaho, Montana. Yeah. And my sister lives in Boise. We're actually going camping
That's where
down by Ledore. this weekend.
I
So
haven't
we're
heard of
headed
that.
because my sister's down. It's
Yeah.
past Chalice Hot Springs and Salmon and stuff like that. So
We still have a lot
oh, Idaho.
yeah, we have family on both sides down in Boise, Amen.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
they've got a place where they go camping in Island Park, which
Mhm.
isn't too far away. I think that's
Yeah.
over across the border though. But yeah, so I've been down there for that, but I still
Yeah.
like North Idaho better.
North Idaho is stunning. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Coeur d'Alene is like a gorgeous area of Idaho. I love it
Yeah.
there. I've
Yeah.
written it in a couple books because of my historical westerns, you know, kind of
Oh,
coming and
nice.
going. Like, yeah.
Yeah, the
Spokane.
city, yeah, in my Tangaline series is based on Coeur d'Alene, but I gave it a different name. I call it Pineville. But it's like, you know, when I think
Yeah.
of Pineville, it's like all of the landmarks and everything of Coeur d'Alene, and made some stuff up to, I guess, protect the innocent. But
Yeah. That's what you got to do. Love it. Oh, yay. I'm really excited that you're so close. So we'll have to get together sometime and have coffee.
Yeah.
Next time I'm out that way. Yeah.
And what is close when you're talking about Montana and Idaho? You know, are you like 6 hours away?
3 or 4 hours?
yeah, yeah, my
the
husband.
same thing, Dylan. I was like,
Yeah.
what is
Yeah,
this
he described it in like
close
3 hours.
Okay. So if you met in the middle, I mean, there might not be
Yeah.
somewhere to have
Yeah.
coffee in the middle, but you'd be like an hour and a half.
You bring
Yeah.
bring a thermos. You're fine.
Right, right.
Got to go through a couple passes.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that.
I think the 4th of July pass is about middle.
Yeah,
Right there.
yeah. So I
Where
try
it's
to
like,
stay away
meanwhile,
from there.
Mining camps up there.
Yeah.
There's no
Meanwhile,
snow
Megan,
at
you
this
can
time,
like
right?
drive an hour and a half and hit like 4 states, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
So
Actually,
fun.
I can actually stand in 4 states, I believe, if I hit the right spot.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So Megan, why don't you tell us? We had you here not that long ago as your alter ego.
right. I was here as Sabrina a couple
Yeah.
2 months ago for my paranormal. I
Yep.
I
believe.
loved it. I loved it too.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Yeah, actually there is a spot here in Connecticut. It's on the Connecticut, New York, Massachusetts. There's a spot that you can be standing in like 3 states in
Okay.
literally one spot. I think it's on Bear Mountain, if I recall correctly, or one mountain. I can't remember exactly the spot. So you could stand in 3 or 4 states. There's actually one spot. There might even be, you may even be able to hit New Hampshire too. I don't remember
You put
exactly.
like a hand in each
You
one
can-
and then a
if
foot.
you had 4 feet,
Others.
or if you want to play Twister, you could actually do it. So there is a
Okay.
spot you can do that. It's really
Interesting.
kind of cool. It's actually marked. That was in my hiking days, which was many, many years ago. I do not hike. I do not camp. I do not do any of that anymore. I am fully an indoor house cat.
Okay, so Megan, if you came and visited me, you wouldn't even hike around the lake. It's a straight, flat hike.
Well, I would do that. Yeah, I would do that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Well, we call
I'm
that
warning
walking.
you.
We
Well,
call
I'm
that
warning
walking. I don't call that
Okay.
hiking.
It's 11
Isn't that-
miles
Strolling, Dawn.
for 11 miles.
11
No, I wouldn't
miles.
do 11
is not a
miles.
stroll.
No.
That's not a stroll.
It goes
I won't do
around the
11
lake.
miles. That's not
That's a
happening.
commitment.
Halfway point is a waterfall, though. I mean, stunning, gorgeous waterfall.
Yeah, get me an ATV, get me a horse, get me a
Segway.
cowboy. I'll consider it.
Well, we could do a horse from one side.
Did you just
So-
say a cowboy, Deborah?
No, I said Segway. Megan
Oh,
said
Segway.
cowboy.
I
I
thought
said
you
cowboy.
said you'd ride a cowboy around the lake. I'm sorry. I just.
Yeah, that's a whole different
That was
conversation.
me. That was
Yeah,
all
yeah.
me.
I mean, this is
Yes.
romance happy hour, so
Mhm.
I have a horse, ride a cowboy, right?
That's
I
right.
like
Mhm.
Deborah. I write westerns. I mean,
Yeah, we all do. Hands up
We
if
all
you
do.
like cowboys. Woohoo.
yeah,
Right.
woohoo. Yes, I would definitely come visit you, Dawn. I would not walk 11 miles.
Okay.
I would
Yeah, I'm with you.
find alternate means of transportation, and I would not
A
camp.
boat. We
Okay,
could do
fine.
a boat.
I would do a boat.
Just
My
paddle
legs
forward.
don't walk that far. And I've done my camping days. I've done my hiking
Oh.
days. Those are long past. I need indoor plumbing and I need the comforts of home, a mattress,
I
a
love that.
bed, doors.
Well,
What about
Bears
glamping?
visit me in my house here
I
in
was just
Connecticut.
gonna say I have an RV. I have all that with me, and I'm still
Well,
going camping.
I
Yeah.
have a house
Glamping.
and I have bears visit me. An RV would be just
Oh,
a
I love it.
disaster.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But really, no, just I cannot be in nature. It would not be fun. Just saying. I do not live in the woods. I do not live in the forest. I live in a populated area and I have coyote, bear. Yeah, they come and visit all the time. I'm not really liking
Nice.
this. Okay. So,
Yeah.
I keep joking they're shifters, but
Oh.
they haven't shifted yet.
that would be
So
cool.
Well,
it would be, Deborah.
Not
You
while
know,
you
That
want
you
to.
know of. That you know of.
that I know of. Right.
Do you
Exactly.
have cameras outside your
I
on
do.
the outside? Okay, so
Oh, I
you
do.
do know a little bit.
I'm checking. Believe me, I'm checking. I'm
Okay.
waiting. I'm waiting for the day.
We get moose. We
I
get
Yeah.
my
There are moose
parents
in
have.
Connecticut now. There
Yeah.
are moose in Connecticut now. I have not seen one yet. I'm
Mhm.
waiting because that will be the next thing to show up at my front door. Just saying, they're going to be here.
Yeah. We get all
Um,
kinds.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. So, but I write westerns. As I said, I write small town western. And I'm mostly leaning toward the small town, although I do write cowboys and I write paranormal. I live in here in Connecticut, living the dream. My westerns are set in Montana, in
Mhm.
Dawn's world. I do need to go visit Dawn. I need to go visit
Yeah.
Dawn. I
I'll
definitely
show
need to
you
go visit
all the
Dawn because
cowboy
she's gonna
stuff.
make me hike and camp. So I'm not liking this. So I'm thinking maybe I don't go visit Dawn.
I won't make you camp.
Yeah,
May-
even in your RV.
No,
Just
I
in our
won't make
RV,
you
yeah.
camp. I won't make you camp or hike if you really don't want to, but you will actually want to when you see the views. You'll want to go walk around and see more views. Actually, we had a friend she's from Russia, right? She was here visiting a couple weeks ago. We stopped at this one little pullout in the mountains, and we realized as we were halfway through that it was a mountain lion graveyard. It was all
Oh,
of her kills over the whole winter
Oh
were just
no,
like scattered around. So I'm like, and then
that would.
when I went to pee in the bushes, I found like all the bones down the trail, and I was like, ah, honey, we probably shouldn't tell him this, but we should probably get going because I'm pretty sure she's still around.
yeah.
So
You would come out of the forest and be like, "Hey, how
it's like
you doing?" If I was there.
I
Saying.
got to say, there's like probably close to 20 kills there. So I was
Jeez.
like, yeah, she lives here. Let's go.
This is her territory.
I can show you
Not
that if
yours.
you want.
It's hers.
All right.
But yeah, we
we've
got to
been
get
chatting.
going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have been chatting for a long time about nature. We
Random
need to move
things.
on and
Yeah.
listen to
Beavers,
some romance.
bears, Montana. Lots
Coeur
of
d'Alene.
things.
So I think
Yeah.
Deborah is going to read for us first.
Mhm.
Okay,
And
this will be.
do you
Sorry,
need
go
to
ahead.
set the story or anything? Are you going to start with chapter 1 or do you?
No, I'm gonna do chapter 1. It's called Loving Goldie. This is the first time I've ever read my work live.
Oh, yay.
So okay.
You let us know when you're
And
ready.
This is another insta love, romance, workplace, single mom. A lot of my characters tend to be a little bit older, 35-ish and up. This character is in early 40s. So
Okay, we will leave
you
you to
ready?
it and we'll be back when you're done.
Okay. Chapter 1, Goldie. The relief of being pain-free was, well, to be honest, I'm still trying to get used to it. Even the twinge of discomfort I feel almost a month after my surgery has nothing on the years-long grip endometriosis had on me, keeping me from so many life events, my own, but especially of those of my daughter, Lillian. The saying, "New year, new you," couldn't be more apt. At 41 years old and almost 4 weeks out from a hysterectomy, I was ready for the next chapter in my life. Better health, a new career, and now finally my own home. No more renting. This new year was going to be our best yet, even if I couldn't give my daughter the one thing she's asked Santa for since she could talk, a sibling. She'd been forced to grow up too fast without her father in the picture, then having and thankfully beating childhood cancer. Sighing, I didn't want to go down that particular part of memory lane, so I pushed all thoughts of what I couldn't give my daughter and focused on all the positives in my life. Today was my first official day back to work at Carter Security. I loved my job as a scheduling operator. Right now, I was assisting other account managers and hope to gain my own accounts when I reached my 1 year anniversary. We specialize in all forms of security services and protection from high profile athletes, multi-million dollar businesses, or wealthy clients who required various forms of personal security, on-site services, or system-wide technical expertise. I finally felt as if I found my place with this company, and best of all, it provided an excellent health plan, and the salary was more than I'd ever thought I'd ever earn. I decided to meet Kirsten, one of my closest friends, for lunch. Typically, I brought my lunch to work as the company has a nice break room, but today I needed a boost of her positivity to get me through the nerves of returning to work. Hey, sorry I'm late. I offered to drop off a last minute order not far from here. Kirsten sat down grinning at me, then reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Hey, I know that look. What's up? I seem to remember you telling me that brooding over things you couldn't change was behind you now that you've had your surgery. Leaning back, she scanned the menu just as the waiter arrived. Giving him our orders, we declined his offer of a bottle of wine. Maybe next time we have to go back, maybe next time we have to go back to work after this. He gave me an unexpected once over, which left me in a bit of a shock. When was the last time a man had checked me out? I mean, he was at least 20 years younger, but still, he was cute. My heart sped up at his attention. Look at you, you're practically glowing over there, getting lingering looks from hot younger guys. I'm telling you, Goldie, this is your year. I'm so happy you're healthy. Lily's happy and healthy too, plus your awesome new job. Now you just need a man. Head spinning from Kirsten's sudden arrival and optimistic words, I laughed at the last part of her statement. Scanning the restaurant, I watched as the waiter walked away, stop at the bar, and enter our order onto a tablet. Definitely too young. He glanced over his shoulder and caught me checking him out. I felt my cheeks warm as I quickly glanced away. Unfortunately, in doing so, my gaze landed on a table full of men, which included the owners of the company I worked for. They were with a couple of our soon-to-be clients. Kirsten's earlier comment about needing a man popped into my head because the one man who would have been at the top of my list, if I had a list of men I wanted to date, was a boss I considered totally off limits and out of my league. And he was staring at me. I couldn't look away. Then, in a sexy ascend move, one of his eyebrows lifted, his full lips morphed into a brilliant smile. I wanted to melt into the floor. Oh man, he was hot, and even more so when he smiled. Women from the age of 18 to 80 didn't stand a chance around this man. Somewhere around 6'1" and leanly muscled, he was a walking fantasy, and he'd been in mine a little too often lately. What should I do now? I'd been caught, and now knowing Ford Carter, he'd find a way to tease me. He was the laid back of the two owners, who happened to be cousins, and he was single. But I knew how dangerous workplace relationships could be, so I locked down my attraction to him from day one, but a girl could still look. I'd met Lily Ann's father at work almost 11 years ago and swore I'd never go through that nightmare again. It didn't matter how nice, sexy, and smart he was. Ford was off limits. I not only needed this job, I wanted this job, and that was a first for me. Unlike past jobs I took only to pay the bills, I could see myself working at Carter Security for a long time. Ford's look had not only ignited a full body flush, but unleashed a warm swarm of butterflies in my lower belly. Gathering my wits, I shrugged my shoulders and broke eye contact. The waiter's attention had been nice, and it gave my ego a much needed boost. But the look from Ford, heck, any look from him, often produced dangerous feelings within me. Okay, every time he looked my way. And maybe I had given in to the if only daydreams a time or two, where the if only became the dream of us meeting when I was younger, healthier, etc., etc. But I tried to keep them to a minimum since it left me all kinds of frustrated. Wait, what did I miss? Why are you all red? Kirsten's voice and eyes held concern and confusion. She looked around the restaurant, and I knew the moment she spotted the reason for my reaction. Ford was no longer looking at me, but that didn't really matter. Somehow, she'd pick up on my attraction to him without me ever saying a word. It's what good friends inherently knew about each other, like how I knew she was holding tight onto her feelings for Dr. Jack Monroe without ever telling me what was going on between them. It made me think perhaps I should find out what was really going on and offer any help I could, considering he'd been my surgeon. Tell me again why you're not going after that tall drink of water, Kirsten smirked. Rolling my eyes, I wiggled in my seat. I couldn't shake that look from Ford. I really don't know what you mean. He's basically my boss, so he's off limits, even if he was interested in me, which he's not. A different person delivered our lunch, thank goodness. I really didn't want to deal with whatever the first waiter might have had on his mind. I was terrible at letdowns, hence why I'd stayed with my ex way too long. Smiling at the server, we waited until we were alone again to continue our conversation. Keeping my eyes forward, I fought the urge to look back over at Ford's table. Goldie, you're a beautiful woman. There's no reason to write off finding a man to share your life with. You've been fighting to become healthy again for so long, you deserve to let loose. Have fun, so why not him? Not wanting to argue, I ignored her question, then dug into my meal. 20 minutes later, after taking the not so subtle hint to change the subject, Kirsten was telling me about Holly's, her boss at Just Desserts, whirlwind romance and upcoming marriage to Zane Snow. He was the brother of Noelle Snow Scott, a friend and wife of Tia Scott, one of the owners of the Idaho Outlaws, a United States Baseball League team and one of the Carter Security's biggest clients. In fact, I'd been working with one of their players before taking time off for my surgery. So you up for going out on New Year's Eve? Harlow told me she invited you. Harlow worked for the Idaho Outlaws and was married to Zach, and that meant Ford would probably be there too. I wasn't sure I could handle being in a social situation where he would have a date and I didn't. Maybe your sitter, Ms. Barker, can watch Lily. Ms. Baker can watch Lily. Kirsten was 7 years younger than me with the drive and energy to still party, but I was more than happy curled up on the couch with my daughter, watching movies or reading one of my cozy mysteries. Come on, all the cool kids are doing it. I bet Ford will be there. Grinning, she reached for the check before I could grab it. Where am I supposed to be? Hi, Goldie. Ford somehow had magically appeared at our table without me noticing. How do you do that? Even at work, he had a way of sneaking up on me. I hope you don't mind the interruption. Zach and I were having lunch with the team from RJ Imports, and I didn't want to leave without stopping by. His dark brown eyes twinkled and his smile. Darn it, it should be certified dangerous. Another round of fluttering erupted in my belly, and even though I no longer had a uterus, the way he was looking at me had me envisioning a baby boy with Ford's dark eyes and dimples, and that was not just dangerous, but crazy. I could never give him a child, and I had no business thinking about anything could happen between us. He was not the man for me. Not at all. Ford, this is my friend, Kirsten Stafford. She manages Just Desserts. He took Kirsten's hand, and a rush of jealousy overtook me. Darn it. I had no claims on him, but it took me a minute to calm my heartbeat and stop thinking about removing her hand from his forcibly. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be back to the office soon and be ready to. No rush. Enjoy your lunch. We're all glad you're back. You look great, by the way. In fact, you're glowing. Right? I was just telling her that, Kirsten said. What did he mean? Was he just being polite? Was he flirting with me? For a moment, no one said anything. Too tongue-tied to respond, I nodded, then set Kirsten a pleading look. She took my hint, saving me. It was nice meeting you, Ford. Maybe we'll see you at Zach and Harlow's New Year's Eve party? That would be great. Nice to meet you as well. Ford grinned at her, then turned back to me. See you later, Goldie. He paused, giving me another quick but interested look before leaving. Both Kirsten and I watched him walk away. As soon as he passed through the front door, she turned to me, smirking. That man wants you, Goldie. If a guy looked at me the way he was just looking at you, I'd be running after him. Blinking rapidly, I shook my head. You're wrong. He's that way with all the employees. He's nice to everyone. Keep telling yourself that, my friend, but I want an update later on about how the rest of your day at work goes. A half hour later, as I settled behind my desk, I was still stunned at what happened at the restaurant. Was Kirsten right? Was Ford really attracted to me? And if he was, what was I going to do about it? And that's chapter 1.
What was she going to do about it? Indeed.
Yes.
Love it.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Yes.
It was-
I'm sorry I laughed at a couple spots. You know how you just read something? It's so
Yeah.
at your, especially when it's your own writing.
uh-huh.
Yeah. No, it's
Yes.
great to laugh at your own stuff. I mean, I'm sure we've all been there where we're sitting there going,
Yep.
like, yeah,
What was the
yeah.
title of that, Deborah?
It's called Loving Goldie.
Okay.
And it's part of the Perfectly Imperfect series, and where each writer picks, like, the heroine or the hero has some kind of either trauma or health issue that they've overcome, and now they're moving on in their life and finally getting serious about their love life.
Love it.
And this one happens to be about endometriosis and having a hysterectomy, which I had. So, so it was
I love that.
kind of easy to slide that in there. And
There, I
Big
just posted
Yeah.
the link in there, I think.
oh, yes, thank you. I
Put it in
appreciate
there.
that.
Yeah,
And it's wide. I just put it wide too.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, that
No,
is
that's
what
okay.
And it's 99 cents on Amazon, it looks like.
Right.
That is what is so frustrating, is to me at least, is, there's not like a good place unless an author posts, like, here's your books to read link, or, like a Genius link or something where you have like one link where you can get all of them easily. There's,
Yeah.
So when you go, for Books Wide, it's like, unless I know what your books to read link is, or Genius link or something like that,
Mhm.
it'd be nice if there was just somewhere
Central
where-
location,
I know.
like a library.
I
There you
know.
go.
I mean, I know people can do that on their website. If
Right.
you have like all your books on your website, you can have all the links on your website. But
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
You
somebody's
gotta go
a Google
yourself, get them
reader-
all individually.
I know, or a Nook reader, or they read on Apple, or it's just
Mhm.
it would be nice to
Yeah.
be nice to be able to have those. So
Yeah.
And I
Well, we
just
do have a
started
couple
putting-
questions. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. I thought we'd answer 2 and then hear from Megan and then answer the
Okay.
rest. Okay.
good plan, Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So if you could choose 3 people to invite to a dinner party, who would they be and why?
Why?
Say
Why
that.
would I
1,
want-
2.
Why?
I know. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Go. 1, 2. Karen, of course, would be at mine. I'm sure she would be a great topic of a conversation. She knows everybody.
I don't
She's
know if
like
I
everybody
want
out there.
to meet any of my people that I like admired who were like in the public domain, because
Hmm.
you don't want to meet them, because then they become a different entity.
They don't.
You know what
They
I
don't
mean?
meet your expectations
They
Right.
don't.
or what you think of them. Right.
And you
Like, what if they
and
were
you make up-
rude in person?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can make stuff in your head about them and pretend, and that's why we are writers.
Mhm.
So I would probably want to go to dinner with other writers, because
Mm.
we have so much in common to talk about, and it
Mhm.
wouldn't be like you would have to think about all the different things that you should already know about them, because it'd be more like a discovery thing. So I would probably go to dinner with you 3 over any of my favorite. No, I'm serious. That would be awesome.
I
compared
love
to,
having dinner with other writers.
yeah.
I feel like we may have influenced your answer.
Yeah.
But I will
Yeah,
say that
it
so
was
I do
very,
an answer for this that's a little bit
appropriate,
different.
yes.
So
Yes. Easy cop out, right?
I write paranormal, and I love fantasy romance. And I remember watching years ago, I can't remember the name of the movie now, but I remember hearing that C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, and it was a third person, I can't remember who it was, all these big name fantasy writers, like the big greats, right? Way back in the early between World War I and II, used to get together at Oxford and they at a bar and would drink and have their conversations when they were building and writing and all that.
Mhm.
I think they would be fascinating to talk to and just to sit and listen to, not even have dinner with, just to sit and listen to how they evolved those worlds that have been so foundational to so many authors today. But I don't think I would be confident enough to actually have dinner with them. I'd probably want to sit at a table adjacent to them just to listen. I don't think I'd be confident enough to sit there because they were brilliant people. I'm not a brilliant person. But I do love having dinner with authors but I also with readers, because I just love to talk about books. And I love to hear readers' perspective on the books that we love and on books that they love. And I love hearing authors and their process, because I am a plotter. So I love to hear all of that. So I can't say that I would pick anyone specific besides those three. There's a couple others that I would probably cherry pick out of the fantasy genre, but I just would love to sit and just anybody I could sit and talk to about books and about writing. I definitely would love to do it.
That's what I miss about RWA chapters.
Yeah.
I'm not even in the RWA anymore, but when we did have a local chapter, which is gone now and has been for a few years, that's what I loved about that. We'd go out to lunch afterwards.
Yeah. I would have to say my agent, an editor that's interested in my book, and a movie producer.
I'm going to write that down. Can I steal that? Okay.
See, and I was going a completely different direction.
Yeah.
I was going to say my dad and my grandma and my grandpa, because they're all passed. So
love
that's
that.
what I was going to say.
That would be a good dinner.
So it would be a great dinner. And we would have steak.
Steak. You would order for them?
We would
excuse me, you may be back from the dead, but you're having steak.
That would be what we would have. I mean, that's what they would.
Oh, they would want it. Okay.
That would be what we'd have. I mean, that just would be what we'd have. Yes.
Okay.
Steak, nothing else.
Yeah.
Well, with all the other stuff too.
Okay. And
just a big old steak.
Okay, I have found us one more question real quick, and then we got to hear from Megan. What is the most difficult part of your writing process? I'm going to start it by saying off getting time to do it, but I mean, that's me at this point. That's mine.
Yeah, that's for me right now, that's been a bit challenging because my day job has gotten really crazy. But I think the most difficult part, honestly, has been edits, because I'm going through a very tough edit right now on a book. And a book that I thought was actually going really well, and then it took a left turn, and I have some very significant edits, and I'm struggling with them. So when you think everything's going great, and you're like right at the very end, and there's always a difficult point in every book, and it differs with every book. You always hit a difficult point in a book, and it differs for every book. For me, every book has its own point that is very difficult. Right now I'm going through some very challenging edits, and part of that is because of time and some other personal challenges outside of writing that is limiting my time to devote to it, unfortunately, because of the daily challenges. But edits can be, and that's where your book shines. First draft, you're getting it down, you're letting it all flow and let it all hang out. And then you've got to pull yourself back out of the stuff you love and say, yes, I love this scene. It's the most wonderful, amazing scene ever, but it doesn't work. And you have to cut it all out because it doesn't work. And you want to throw your 2-year-old temper tantrum and say, but it's brilliant and it's wonderful. And my editor says it doesn't work. And while I could turn around and say, I don't care what you think, I love it. My editor will say to me, well, yeah, but.
Yeah.
One thing right. 100% correct.
I learned was, or did a couple times, was to take those and use it for marketing later. Like, this is my favorite scene that had to be cut, and you're like marketing it, like, hey, sneak peek scene that I love. but
Right.
that's, anyways.
I've
But
done
yeah,
that.
I feel
have.
you. I feel you. It's like having
a
to
baby.
choose, your favorite child, which
I'm
I
like,
have some. I'm just not gonna say who they are right here.
they.
you
I like
watch.
the they part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
No,
they
it
know.
it sometimes is like cutting off part of your
Yeah.
heart, but
Yeah.
she's absolutely right. She's 100% right. I just you have to mourn that piece that you're having to get rid of. And
Yeah.
I'm still in the mourning phase and I'm not happy about it.
Oh.
And Casey, who's on this call, can totally understand because she hears me every night during sprints saying, I don't want to do it. I'll get over it.
Yeah.
I'm just having to kick my own butt to do it. So edits.
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with edits. Right now it's a hate-hate relationship. Great question, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah. And what about you, Deborah?
I think right now, to be honest, is the sex scenes lately.
No.
Because since I switched to writing like the shorts, it's like I feel like I'm describing everything the same way.
Mm.
Oh, I feel like that sometimes too.
And
Yeah.
then,
You're just like, how many
right.
times can I say he kissed her? Like,
Right.
like
Yeah. How can I describe that? Or
how many times can I describe a kiss?
the flow
Yeah.
of the scene and yeah. And I don't know if it's an age thing because I didn't have this problem. I started off writing longer novels, sports romances.
Mhm.
And I would have like 3 or 4 like open door scenes, in a 50K word novel. And then now that I'm anywhere from 10 to 20,000 words a book. Yeah, it's been weird. So, and I'm not, I'm not shy about, they're steamy, so I don't have a problem using the appropriate language that, we put in our books. It's just like, yeah, the last 2. It's
Like
been
we've done it
the major sex scene that has been the last thing that I've actually written for the stories.
I think sometimes in the shorts, because I've written some shorts recently, I feel like maybe there's not as much time and as much space to really dig into the characters. And so
Right.
I think sometimes I feel like you really have to know the characters yourself, because I'm a discovery writer. And so, like I might write like 25,000 words before I start to really get a feel for my characters when I'm writing a full length book. But in the shorts, you have to really know them really fast. And so I think sometimes, when I've done shorter books, it's like if I don't really know the characters, then I feel like some of my writing does sound more, I don't want to say generic, but it's not as personal to those 2 characters. But I mean, I think that's something that I've noticed with my writing.
Yeah.
It's just,
and I'm more of a character driven writer than plot. So that's why it's so hard. It's because I just don't want to write a sex scene for the sake of sex. It needs to be something that is meaningful between the characters, and then also moves the story along.
Right.
Yeah. So. Well, shall we hear from Megan?
Yes, we need to. Oh my gosh.
I know.
And we need to hear from Megan.
Yes.
I'm enjoying the
conversation for us tonight, Megan.
No,
you're not running out of reading.
Yes.
You've been on here before. You know that we always go a few minutes late.
Yep. So I'm doing the right cowboy. Yeah, the right cowboy. This is a book 3 in my Granite Junction series. For those of you who may have heard about my Granite Junction series before, it's a small town western, cowboy adjacent. So they're all cowboy adjacent, but it's all about a small town in Montana. Dawn, wait, this way. Sorry. So trying to orient myself. And Dawn, if Dawn reads it, and she'll tell me everything I got wrong about Montana.
She's good at that.
I'm sorry, Dylann.
And she is welcome to do so. I have a rogue beefalo in here because I thought it might be fun. He's a lot of fun. So I like to have a little character or some sort of a little something or other that kind of, I like animals in my books. I don't always get one in there, but I like to have something. In the first book, I had a horse, a demon horse, basically. In this one, I have a beefalo.
They're
I
fun
think
to ride.
I think you would like Dexter. And then this one is Buford.
Oh,
Buford is my
Good name.
beefalo, who
okay.
plays a little bit of a matchmaker at times in the book. And Buford came from when I was actually plotting this book. I was up in Vermont when I was plotting this book, and in the town next to my hometown, there was a beefalo that escaped from a train. They were heading toward the great beyond. They were taking a whole bunch of critters to the great beyond, and he escaped. And he
Cool.
was on the run for about 8 months in
Oh, funny.
the
Wow.
town next door to
Wow.
us down here. And I was following that story, and I'm like, he is so going to have to be in this book. So he is in the book as Buford, and he will continue. He will come back in a couple more books here and there. So just mentioned, he's not going to play a major role, but in this book he plays a major role. So this particular scene is right after my heroine comes to town for the first time. She's a transplant. She's actually passing through, and she has not seen her father since she was 7, and she feels he left and abandoned her, when in reality her mother told him to leave and not come back because he was an alcoholic, and she wanted him to leave them so that they could have a better life without him. And he cleaned himself up, but he didn't come back. And she felt abandoned by him. And she's on her way to the West Coast, and she decides she's going to see him and get some closure. And her car, of course, breaks down in Granite Junction.
Okay.
And she meets Buford. And she's like, what was that thing that just walked in front of me? I was going to have Bigfoot, but I figured I can't necessarily have Bigfoot. I would have liked Bigfoot, but Bigfoot would not work in a small town romance. So we went with a beefalo.
You never know. You could save that for another book.
Oh, it's coming in another book. Trust
good.
me.
All right.
Okay. Well, we will leave you to it, and we'll be back when you're done.
Okay. Nathan Holt pulled into the scenic Overlook picnic area, scanning for any signs of the motorist in distress. His dispatcher had called him at home on his morning off, saying his deputies were busy, and asked him to drive by. Rosie McIntyre was a bit of a motherly type, an older woman who had been with the department since his father had been chief, and she liked to offer her suggestions, whether or not they were wanted. But she knew everybody in town, their past, and how they connected to everyone, and she was as valuable as one of his detectives, only she baked better. So she obliged her by hauling his butt out to the Overlook to find this motorist, who Rosie assured him was not from this area based on her accent. Sure enough, an old metallic gray Camry was parked just inside the drive to the spot, looking forlorn and alone. There was smoke coming from under the hood, a nasty smell emanating from the vehicle. It wasn't going anywhere soon. Where was the driver? Comp intuition flaring, he called, but heard no response, no motion from inside the vehicle. He surveyed the area cautiously. He learned from his father's death that danger could come for a cop, even from people you knew the best, never mind a stranger from the area. So he would proceed with caution until he knew the situation. He began walking in circles, drawing closer to the car until he saw a fluttering piece of paper on the windshield. Keeping one eye on the surrounding area, he grabbed the paper and read the note. Then he pulled out his walkie-talkie, radioing dispatch. Found the vehicle, no occupant, though a note says the owner's at the Overlook. Nice view today. Clear day, Rosie drawled. He shrugged, though she couldn't see him. He glanced at the back seat, seeing a red lace bra sticking out of a small bag in the back seat. Was the caller female? Yep. Didn't I mention that? He scowled, but didn't bother to reply. I'm going to the beach to check on the driver. Tell Monroe that's where I'll be. Any ETA? Nah. He's still dealing with that accident with Joe. But they're almost done. He ended the call and headed down the path. When he got to the end, he froze in his tracks. Sitting on the top of the picnic table, her legs perched on the seat, was a woman, her red hair in a messy bun in her head, a tank top that gave him more than a tantalizing glimpse of tan skin, and a pair of worn, paint-knot jeans that left little to the imagination. The chick was smoking hot. His dormant hormones stood up and noticed. Though, as the sheriff, oogling women was not in the handbook, except under things that triggered disciplinary procedures and dismissals. It would suck if he had to cite himself for violations, and he would do it. Those were the rules, after all. Her eyes widened when she saw him, and she slid from the table, walking toward him with a loose-limbed gait, her hips swaying a little as she moved. He steeled himself against his body's reaction and cursed small-town life where the sheriff had no privacy to date, find a one-night stand, or even a friends-with-benefits situation to blow off steam. To soothe the itch that was burning under his skin, the pulsing need that he could mostly ignore until someone like this woman showed up and reminded him of what he was missing. Well, her, and when he saw his friends finding love and fawning all over each other, was enough to make him sick, or so he told himself when he wasn't jealous of them. But he knew everyone in town and in the county and in the surrounding area. No one had flipped his switch in a long time. He had convinced himself that he'd been destined to be alone, and that was for the best, especially for a sheriff. I expected a tow truck driver, not a cop. I'm feeling all kinds of special now. She glanced toward the tree line and hesitated. Do you have cows up here? Even her throaty voice arrowed straight to his cock, a complication he didn't need right about now. Act professionally, Nathan. He'd never had to tell himself that before. Of course, most of the people he interacted with were either former classmates of his or friends of his mother's, none of which he needed or wanted to see naked. He gave her a curt nod, regaining his professionalism. He flashed his badge. I'm Sheriff Holt. The tow truck is on its way, and I don't think any of the ranchers have any cows up this way unless some of them got loose, and I would have heard about that. Did you see something? She glanced at the tree line again, her brow furrowing. I'm not sure what I saw. I thought it was a cow, but not any kind of cow I've ever seen. He groaned. Describe it. She arched her eyebrow at his demand, but only gave him a sharp look before responding. It was shaggy, kind of like a buffalo, but it didn't look like the pictures I saw in my history book. Small horns, kind of a weird shape. I got a picture. She handed him her phone, and he sighed. Of course, he just missed the rogue. He'd been chasing that darn beefalo around the county for a couple of months now. Buford even had his own section in the town paper for sightings. That's Buford. He's a beefalo, a cross between a bison and a cow. Result is a little bizarre, could look differently depending on how much of each side they got. Buford looks a lot like a bison with horns and shaggy fur, but smaller features like a cow. He can be ornery, so if you see him wandering around loose again, call the station. She gave him a brief salute. Will do, Sheriff. He resisted the urge to roll his eyes. Thanks. Name? She smirked. Wow, back to business. And here I thought we had a moment over your beefalo. Whatever. I'm Abby, and I'm just passing through. Had a little car trouble, so I called 911. He noted her omission of a last name. Interesting. No AAA? She laughed. You saw the state of my car, right? Do you think I can afford AAA? Do you even have that out here? He'd scanned the car to ensure there weren't any weapons, and it had appeared she would live out of her car, so it was a fair statement. I don't make assumptions, ma'am. I only deal in facts. She stared at him for a long moment, then buried her fingers in her hair and shook out the bun, letting her hair fall around her shoulders. How do you walk with that stick up your butt? Heat flooded his face, and he frowned at the teasing tone. Ma'am, she shook her head. I'm not that old, officer. Please don't ma'am me. Call me Abby. Care to share your last name? For the first time, she looked uncomfortable and glanced away. I'd prefer not to stay. And I'd prefer to be enjoying my breakfast, but we can't all have what we want. The words just came out before he could stop them, and she looked over, a smile crossing her face. Well, you can make a joke. Gaines, Abby Gaines, and I'm headed to Granite Junction. For now. Like I said, I'm just passing through. Well, we're not a big hub of commerce, so if your car needs a part, it could take a while. Do you know what went wrong? She frowned and glanced down the path toward the parking lot. It just stopped running, then smoke billowed out from the hood. I figured that was bad. I was lucky no one was around me and I could coast to this pull-off here. We don't get a lot of traffic out this way. You're lucky you had cell service. His walkie-talkie squawked and he listened for a moment. Sounds like your tow is here. Shall we check it out, Miss Gaines? She jerked at the name, then nodded. Interesting reaction, almost as if she didn't recognize it. She headed down the path, pausing next to him. Thank you, Sheriff. A sly grin crossed her face. I'll do my best to abide by your laws while I'm in your town. Somehow, he thought she'd push the boundaries, but he didn't think she'd break the law, just skirt the edges a little bit. But he'd monitor her just the same.
We're coming back. Slowly but surely. There we go.
Slowly but surely.
Very nice. I
Yeah.
like the accent too. Nice job on the
Trying to slip one in
southern
there a little bit.
accent from the Connecticutan.
Yeah, Connecticutan.
Connecticutan, is that correct?
There's a few names people have for us, but we're on a PG site, so as if you come from Massachusetts or New York, we'll keep it PG.
Got it. No, that was fun.
I like this banter. That was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yes. And
Thank
the
you.
description of the beefalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Team Buford already. I can tell. cheering
Buford likes Abby. He follows her around basically, and he doesn't like Nathan. He definitely gives Nathan a hard time. He always just misses Nathan, or Nathan just misses Buford. But Buford really likes Abby a lot, and she sees him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Buford definitely is a matchmaker for them.
Okay.
Yep, he shows up a few times in the book.
And how many books are in that series?
There's 3 right now, and the edits that I'm working on right now is for the 4th book.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be out this summer. Rebellious February.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Were there any last minute questions, Dawn? I know we're
There
pushing time, but
We had 2, so let's just do one. Let's
Okay.
just do one. Let's do this one. What is your favorite simple pleasure?
Oh, I thought you were going to do the one from Jen because we
Oh,
haven't
I didn't
done-
see. Oh gosh.
It's okay. We'll do 2.
Okay.
We'll do 2. So
Okay, we'll do 2.
yes.
Didn't see it. Sorry. Simple pleasure.
Who's going first?
You can go, Deborah.
Oh, okay. Being able to take a nap.
Oh my gosh.
I love naps.
Nice.
I do love naps.
Yeah.
Yes.
I cannot sleep though during the day. And so it definitely is a pleasure when I can,
Mm-hmm.
but I
And I don't
cannot
have to go
turn my
deep.
brain off.
Yeah, I can just do like that, almost like lucid dreaming type, where you're
Mhm.
in between. And sometimes I'll do it if I'm stuck in a story.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Yep.
just, instead of frustrating myself in front of the computer, then I'll just
Yep.
go lie down.
No,
That's
I like naps. Naps are good things.
Yeah.
Naps are wasted on the young.
They are.
Wasted.
Although
But
I
I like
liked them when I was young too. I've always been a napper.
I do. I like naps. I can nap. I love to nap. But my simple pleasure is tea. I love tea.
Oh,
I love all different
nice.
kinds of tea, and I will explore tea whenever I can.
Yeah. Okay, next. Do you read when you're writing a new book?
I do. I'm always reading. I may not always read in the same genre I'm writing, because I don't like to influence
Yeah.
tone, ideas, anything like that. So if I'm writing paranormal, I will not be writing paranormal. If I will not be reading paranormal. If I'm writing contemporary, I will not be reading contemporary. I will or if I'm reading like if I'm writing small town, I won't be reading small town. I'll be reading something very, very different. So I'm always reading, because I think that is my way to relax at night. And I like to keep up with what my favorite authors and friends are doing. And I have a lot of favorite authors out there. So I'm always reading. So I can't stop reading.
Yeah. So
If I'm really into a story that I'm writing, I can't read somebody else's story. But if I'm struggling, sometimes I can't read either. Anybody else's. So it's hit or miss for me. So yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I can't write as well if I'm not reading a lot.
Mhm.
You know, it's like I feel like I don't know. So it's interesting to see how different people handle things.
Kind of goes in cycles too. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll definitely read when I should be writing.
Right.
There are
And,
times I
you know,
don't
when
read
you
as much. That's absolutely true, Deborah. There are times I don't read as much.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's when I'm like on deadline or I'm really like racing to the end and the book is going really well. Like if the book is flowing really well, sometimes I will read a lot less because I don't want anything interrupting the flow.
Right.
And sometimes during those times I'll reread a book because I'll want to do something before bed to just
Yeah.
mellow out. And
Mhm.
that's okay because there's nothing that's going to keep me out of my sync,
Yeah.
out of my focus, you know.
Yep.
Mm.
Interesting. Everybody has a different
Yeah.
process. That's what's
Yeah,
Yeah.
for real.
Mhm.
I
Well, I
used
know
to be
we've
able to
done.
watch TV and write. Sorry, that just popped into my head.
No, that's
That was
okay.
one thing I used to do a lot.
Mhm.
I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I can't do that at all.
Yeah. Huh.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I know that we are pushing up against
Overtime.
time. We went over. We always go over a
We
couple
always
minutes.
do.
Seems like.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining us. We
you.
are
You're
very,
welcome.
very excited that you both could make it tonight, and very grateful that you came on. And I know it's always nerve-wracking a little bit to read your own work in front of other people, and
I
so
got over it my first time, so
yay, you did great.
yay.
I know
Great
we're
job,
just always so appreciative. It's so much fun to hear authors read their own work. I don't know. I think our viewers, our listeners really get a kick out of that. So thank you for being brave. We appreciate it. And we do have
Thanks
a
for the
giveaway
opportunity.
posted. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Deborah?
Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh,
Sorry,
no,
I talk too much sometimes. Sorry.
no, it's okay. There's not really a delay. It's sometimes hard
Yeah.
when you're talking to hear somebody else saying something. But we do have a giveaway posted on the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page, and we'll leave that open through Sunday night. If you're listening to the replay and want to go over, Deborah is giving away a reader's choice of any one of her ebooks.
Mhm.
And Megan, you've got a gift card up for grabs. So yeah, and there are instructions on how to enter over there, so you can check that out. And then where's the best place to find both of you? Is there any particular social media platform or
I'm on
website or anything where you spend most of your time? Deborah, you want to
Facebook.
tell us?
Yeah.
Okay. Facebook?
Deborah Elise author. Instagram, hit or miss. I tried to really get into it, but I just wasn't, it doesn't seem to work, at least for
Mhm.
me. I don't know how well other authors are finding it, but Facebook seems to be a little bit better. Or my
Okay.
website.
And is that DeborahElise.com?
Yep,
or
Deborah
Deborah
Elise.
Elise?
Or you can do it both ways, DeborahElise.com or DeborahEliseAuthor.com.
Okay. And how about you, Megan?
Facebook is probably the best place to find me at Megan Ryder or Megan Ryder Author. And or my website, which is meganryder.com. I am on Instagram. I haven't done as much on Instagram lately. But I do post a lot of different weird things on Facebook, on Instagram, including knitting. You'll see my baking bread on there, although it's summertime's coming, so you won't see me baking as much over there. But I post a lot of knitting stuff over there. So if you like knitting, see me over there.
Do you
And then
knit as much in the summertime as you do in the wintertime?
I do, I do, but smaller stuff, and I don't always take pictures of them. So but yeah. So but yeah, Facebook is probably the best place to find me, and then of course my website or newsletter.
All right. Great. Well, we will be back in a couple weeks. We'll be back the second week of June, the second Thursday, with another episode. And we'll see you then. Thanks, both of you, for being with us. And
Thank
Dawn, as
you.
always, it was good to see you.
I know we never get to see each other anymore.
I know we don't see each other outside of this anymore because you're too busy.
We're trying.
But we'll see you then, and I'll be back from Texas then. I'll have my fill of Tex-Mex by then, so I'm sure I'll be much happier.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.
Thank you.